And hey, everybody, this is Richard, and we are here for another session of the Gaunt Marches. This is a one-shot, but I'm lucky to have many of the players I had last week with me, as well as in the player seat, my co-Gaunt Marches GM, Spencer, joining us as a character this time. So I'm going to give the players a chance to introduce themselves. And talk about what happened in their last Gaunt Marches session. And then we will kind of pick up from there. And I'll have some questions for them. And we're going into the swamp to meet the necromancer. So I'm going to start with Patrick playing Davi.
Hey everybody, I'm Patrick. My character is Davies, also known as Davi for short. He is a elementalist, a bit selfish, uses it for whatever greedy reasons he can. But at the same time, he does follow what the spirits tell him to do, which is mainly to take care of anything that's unnatural in the world. The last adventure, the town of Goatbridge was attacked by these small flying skeletons of small creatures, and Davi and the group learned that, about a necromancer that was nearby. But there was also a demon or being of fire and smoke that appeared, and Davi, with the help of the others, were able to keep one of the townsfolk safe from it. Davi, through the use of his mastery over fire, while others protected the townsperson. I believe it was the blacksmith's son, if I'm recalling correctly.
Blacksmith's apprentice. And the blacksmith was oddly unconscious, being held bound by dead hands. And the blacksmith's apprentice, which Ratch saw but did not tell anybody about, was drunk in the woods. Previous watchers of the Gaunt Marches series will know that the blacksmith, Old Tom, and the apprentice, Young Tom, did not have the most warm and affectionate relationship. Old Tom can be sort of a drunken lout. From there, I'd like to introduce Brian playing White Raven.
Sure. So White Raven is a human winter mage. Kind of her background is that she was born in or around Ghostbridge, but because of her appearance and having kind of these white, pale eyes, it was seen as a bad omen, and she was exiled and at a young age and left for dead, but ended up being raised by a tribe to the north. So she's learned the ways of kind of living in the cold north and manipulating the winter winds. She is now returned to the summer heat of the south, which is uncomfortable for her, but she's driven by this desire to confront the undead menace that is springing up and seen as highly unnatural. So last session, she helped protect that blacksmith's apprentice by freezing his cloak, and the blacksmith, who was unconscious and had been kind of grabbed by death's hands, saw kind of the difference in customs, and she thought the best way to handle that would be to sort of leave him in a cave and see if death truly wanted to take him or not. Whereas the other characters saw that as maybe not a civilized way to treat this blacksmith. So, yes, she shares their view that the necromancer is a perversion of the natural way of things, and is driven to work with them because of that.
Introduce Alex playing Nurk, Nightwind.
Yes, hey, it's your boy Nurk Nightwind, kobold fighter, hero of the realms. he came from the caves to the north, seeking adventure. Very comfortable here in the south, with all the heat. And yeah, last time he hit some flying spines with his cool bone sword. Did some heroism. Then tried to stab a weird demon with his bone sword, which was a problem because the sword was made of bone, and that seemed to be that creature's domain. Yeah. Nurk out.
And then finally, Spencer, who is joining us playing Skizix. Spencer, introduce Skizix to us.
Yeah, so Skizix is known most often by non-insectoids as Scissors. He's like a praying mantis humanoid, kind of maybe like 5 feet tall. I'm playing the Artificer class, and so he reforms his exoskeleton and his body to create these kind of miraculous natural effects. And he is on a quest. I keep calling him a he. It's actually gender neutral. So it's on a quest to go and gain the honor to mate with the queen, because if it returns home and has done great enough deeds and better deeds than the other insectoids that have wandered the world, then the queen will allow me to create the next set of brood. You're muted.
Thank you, sir. You guys are on a 4 or a 5-day journey into the Slough. The Slough is the deep marsh that kind of it's a mix of marsh, swamp, and duneland waste that are to the east of town. It gets its name not because it seems to go on forever, which is what some of the locals will tell you, but informed locals will tell you it gets its name from the evergreen trees that grow there, and the thick scent of pitch that seeps from those evergreen trees. The Slough is constantly shifting, as you might guess, from the combination of swamp and dune. And I think what I'd like to know from Scissors is when you came to Goat Bridge 4 days ago, or it's over a week ago, what lead did you have that told others where to go looking for the necromancer? And last session there was a demon who'd been summoned by the necromancer and then sort of left to its own capricious devices, and had done whatever it was going to do for the necromancer. And the necromancer, instead of dismissing it, just sort of let it sort of run rampage over the swamp. When that demon was disembodied by force through some cooperative effort, its smoky form sort of dissipated over the east. But there's a lot of swampland to the east. And I'd like to know, Scissors, when you showed up shortly after that, you had an important lead about the location of the necromancer in the swamps. What was that lead?
You know, being an insect, I probably was able to communicate with insects in a way that you squishy people would not. And so I traveled from the east, and on my journeys through the swamp, you know, I would commune with whatever kind of ant colonies or dragonfly nests that I came across. And one of them told me pretty specifically like the direction that this necromancer lived in.
What was it that they were either drawn to or flying from?
I think it was the demon being sent out. When the demon was summoned and sent into Goatbridge, they came across my path fleeing it, and then of course coming back, they warned me as well. Its form and its lessened state was returning as well.
Nice. So yeah. And you of course still don't know why the demon really made its way to Goatbridge out of all the other places a demon. But I mean, demons do tend to go where people ask them for assistance, where there's people to lure. But if there's someone just flagrantly just releasing demons into the Everslough, that seems a bad idea. So thank you, Scissors. Scissors, are you a kind of mantis-y person, or a giant mantis, or?
I think I'm more of a person-y mantis than a mantis-y person, if that's a distinction worth making. Yeah, I definitely look more like a bug, like I've got mandibles instead of a mouth. Yeah.
And what like body, is it like 4 legs, 6 legs?
Yeah, so it's the 4 legs that I walk on, and then 2, kind of like four arms, and yeah, I do have like hands. They're not
right.
They're not claws.
And this is maybe not the first time people in Goatbridge have seen people like you. Why do people not react with immediate fear and hostility when they see one of your people or one of your tribe?
The swarm doesn't live too far away. It's not like a hop, skip, and a jump or anything, but I'm sure they've seen these mating potential mates come through before.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We all have the same kind of purple carapace, so we're really easily recognizable as from the same swarm.
WS. When the last few days you were in Goatbridge before heading out into the swamp, what evidence did you see that even though people did not immediately fear the potential mates who traveled alongside the swarm, that they had some sort of anxiety about being too close to them?
So what evidence were that they were anxious about it but not afraid?
Well, there was, they're not afraid enough to just drive them out or try to go kill them, but there's definitely some sort of, anxiety or bias about their presence.
Yeah, I think there's an old story a lot of people don't know that they don't know whether it's true or not, but it's a story about when the locusts came, and the locusts were so rabid. Not only did they eat all the crops, but they ate some of the livestock and even ate some of the people. And a lot of people just pass it off as a tall tale, but that fear of large numbers of insects, especially large ones, definitely creates anxiety in the Goatbridge area.
Nick Nightwind. I think that, or rather, what different story, superstition, or odd sort of devotional feeling do the kobolds have about the swarm?
I think the general feeling is that bugs are for eating,
Uh-huh.
but in the case of the swarm, it's best to just maybe stay away. They're just...
But
Oh, sorry.
being a hero, what most impresses you about scissors?
Probably their acrobatic leaps and stuff. Just their entire physicality.
White Raven, in the journey here, as you know, you've already set off. What did you not think to bring into the swamp that Scissors has provided? Or provided a way to not need?
I've always either taken shelter in caves or built shelter from snow, so I'm not experienced in how to shelter in a swamp, and so Scissors has helped me make a more comfortable shelter for myself. Just general survival in this area that I'm not as accustomed to.
I think my next line of questioning, Scissors, is there anything you would like to add to sort of what you think the interactions these first few days of travel with you as a sort of functioning as a guide into the heart of the swamp?
I think of the characters here, I think Scissors would have been most interested in Davies, because like there's no conception of magic among the insects. The whole swarm is just adaptations and like biological miracles, but there's no like concept of magic. And so especially this like calling upon spirits and seeing fire appear and wind do as you command, it's just weird to Scissors.
WS. The current summer festival in Eelton, is it a time for gift giving, a time for rich, family feasting, or is it just a big community drunken bacchanal? Is it some combination?
It's a little bit of a combination, but
Okay.
it's more of drunken revelry.
Okay.
They believe in hard work there, and when you work hard, you deserve even a harder reward.
White Raven, when you came south, there was something distinctive about the late summer festival. The time right before the harvest, in the way the tribes of the north do it, and the way the towns and cities of the south do it, and villages. In addition to just things that are related to ecology and climate that you might just expect to be different in the way they celebrate. What is so distinctive or strange about the late summer festival to you down here versus the things you did in the late summer festival up north?
I think that up north, the late summer is it's a very like labor intensive time, because our tribe moves from like having snow. We'll have a snow camp, and then we move to our summer camp, where we'll have maybe tents and bone tents, and so a lot of work that goes into that, and they don't have the benefit of stored food for a long time. So it is still a time of fasting, but more out of necessity because there's no food available. So the fasting that they undertake is much more intense because it's true fasting, and there's also a lot of labor.
Now, this has moved from the fasting period into the feasting period.
Oh, okay.
Is there maybe not does the fast not move into the feasting period up north, or?
I think the feasting period is there's a big they hunt a bunch of seals, and so that creates a bit of a feast. So I missed out on the seal hunt that I may have partaken in.
What is so weirdly different about the things that the Southerners do at their feast? Beyond just they'll have different food, you sort of expect that. What is the weird tradition that they were preparing for when you left? In this fucking Bacchanal time.
So the tradition I have up north.
Oh no, the weird tradition you were seeing, it was so weirdly different from anything a Northerner would do. Not just food. You expect food to be different.
Right. I think there's a trying to think of a good example. Maybe down south, it's much more sort of structured. There's religious services and things, whereas up in the north, we're a bit more chaotic. There's everyone's getting drunk, and there's wrestling matches and things like that, and it's just kind of a huge crazy party. Whereas down here, there's actually churches with services and things.
So there's that sort of New Orleans thin religious veneer over the drunken Bacchanal.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Nice. Near Nightwind, the kobolds celebrate this, but they also know that the human celebration of the late summer goes back way into the times of the old empires. Why do the kobolds, or what stories do the kobolds tell of why humans get so outrageously insane at this time?
In terms of just
whatever
weird,
what bacchanalian things humans do, the drunkenness,
I think for one thing, the feast dates back to when the kobolds, a time the kobolds didn't live in caves and maybe weren't as sad as they are now. I think, I don't know, I think there's this general perception of humans tending to be a little unstable, and the heat especially. They think oh, well, poor things can't handle that.
Right. They take off their clothes a lot. It's really weird.
Yeah, I think they basically think of it as humans going mad from heat stroke, essentially.
Deviace, you've headed out into the swamp to track the necromancer. The festival is going on back in Goat Bridge as it has in all the settlements in the marches for centuries. What are you most missing this year, since you will be traveling during the festival?
What am I missing? Like, what part of the
as you think about, like, oh man, the festival's going on back in Goat Bridge. I wish I was.
I'm missing. Yeah, gambling with the drunkards. I mean, it's easy money.
Nice. Okay. White Raven. What was about to happen in Goat Bridge that you were actually kind of excited to see? I mean, this has not been a fun trip south for you. It is really warm down here, and your magic draws on things that are not warm in a very deep way. What were you sort of seeing preparations for that you were sort of excited for before you realized you were going to have to be traveling during the festival time?
I was in some of the summer festival games. One of the games was wrestling, which I was looking forward to maybe putting some men in their place, as I've done quite a bit of that up in the north.
Nice. Nurk, like you said, the festival harkens back to a time when the kobolds did not live in caves and could be in the open light of the sun for much of the day. What did you see preparations for, hear rumors about that you are wishing you could be there for in Goat Bridge among the humans?
I think there's going to be this big, crazy, like, mass dance out in the fields, like among flowers and stuff in the light of the sun. And like it's a lot of drunk and very just, wine drunk and holiday drunk humans, but it strikes Snurk as not just something fun, but something like not sacred, but it's like a spiritual experience he would have liked to been there for.
All right. Scissors. What indulgence does the swarm show to the other peoples of the marches? What indulgence or kindness does the swarm show to the other peoples of the marches during the summer festival?
You guys see my lights flicker? We gotta.
Are you guys in the midst of a storm?
So I think we send probably through traders, not so much literally like bring ourselves, but we send this. They call it royal jelly, and it's just this really sweet. It's kind of like a gelatinous, honey flavored food that we are willing to share.
How long has it been since you got to have some, since you were on this sort of quest away from the tribe, the swarm?
The royal jelly actually is what sends the potential mates out on their quest. So the last time I had it was months ago when I left, and it's what gives us kind of more of a sentience rather than a hive mind. So the ability to think for ourselves starts when we eat this royal jelly.
How do you feel about the fact that you're missing a chance to have more royal jelly back in the town?
I was interested in seeing the customs here because really we only have like one time of celebration at the swarm, and so I wanted to see what these non-efficient wasteful, squishy people do with their time when they're not working. Because for us, we make, we work, we build, yeah.
Yes. So I want to give you all a chance to set some scenes up as you are hiking along. This is the fourth day of the trip into the swamp. And I'd love to just get a glimpse of the kind of things the four of you speak to each other about as you travel. And then we're going to make some journey rolls and see how well the journey is going from the fourth day onward. But Brian, or White Raven, what we start with you? Just set a scene that kind of takes place, and you can include, everybody sort of sitting around eating lunch, or it can be just you walking alongside somebody. But what's happening there? And just like a few sort of snippet 5-minute montage of scenes from this fourth day of travel.
So I think it's maybe heat of the day, and we've stopped on the trail to take a little break and eat kind of a midday meal. And I think everyone's there, but particularly Nurk, I think, is maybe educating us a bit about the sun, and I'm kind of relenting this summer heat. Even though the cool wind follows me, it's still not the same as being back up in the north. So I don't know. I guess maybe, Nurk, if there's something significant about the sun, you might point out to us.
My feeling is that probably anything Nurk would say about the sun, educating might not be the right word. Like, he's probably spouting more misinformation than anything else. But I don't know. It's a lot of personifying the sun. Oh, the sun, she smiles on us and gives us warmth and life. And something about how the moon is like the sun's sad twin. Just stuff like that. That it probably does not make a lot of sense to anybody else. To be honest, that's how I envision kind of the way kobolds think about their faith.
I think
broad terms.
I think Davy just encourages all your talk of the sun and the moon and whatever your beliefs are. Like Davy would be like, yeah, the sun is the greatest spirit of fire that there is, and the moon is nothing but a spirit of stone. That the sun is gratuitous enough to warm.
Yes, the stars you see are the sun's other children. We're a star, and the stars are their other children.
Sure. You should teach White Raven that stuff.
Say the moon god and her brother's sun who chases her across the sky.
The sun is a woman.
They're important, but the endless winter is the truly powerful. She exists where in the absence of all of the things.
You mean the period of time when the sun does not look upon us, when she turns her gaze to her other children.
Say, the sun may not return, but the endless winter is always there for us.
The sun will always return. I've yet to see a day where she doesn't.
I have heard of times when the sun did not return for many years, but the winter was always there for us.
That sounds crazy, and I think someone was lying to you.
Fear not, Nurk, fear not. The spirits of ice stand no chance against the spirits of fire.
Yeah, well,
the endless winter will never be endless.
Oh yeah, I mean the winter. That's just weather, you know. It's like it's not the sun. It's not like God.
I will show you ice so cold that no flame can melt it.
I mean, but what about the sun? Like, I bet if you gave it to her, she could melt it.
The endless winter could extinguish the sun, and perhaps if we were worshipping her properly, she would gift us with such a thing.
You know what? Let's agree to disagree on this one.
So, question for Scissors. In the midst of all this, in the midst of all these spinal cord creatures who don't have proper exoskeletons at all, talking, I think you realize you may realize that several of them have said things that are factually wrong. Do you think that something one of them has said was oddly enlightening, at least on a sort of metaphorical or mythological level? What was it that they mentioned that you were like, you actually appreciated? Not because it was factually correct, but because it said something about the way, something about the world.
Yeah, I think I attached myself to Nurk's idea that the sun has its children scattered throughout the sky, and that they're all equal, brothers and sisters out there, because that's just like me and my family. We're just all little bright stars, all out there doing the same thing.
Nice.
That makes Nurk very happy.
Scissors, what's a scene you'd like to have during this journey before we sort of roll to see how the fourth day is going? So let's try to keep it relatively early in the morning or around lunch or afternoon time, early afternoon time.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it when we're sitting down for a lunch break. I wanna see how Davi's magic works. I wanna compare. So we start talking, and I start like squirting out the goos and the webs and the sticky things that I can create. I'm like, can you make it look like this? And I like squirt a little bit of ooze onto the ground.
Well, number one, I want to say that's kind of disgusting, but cool at the same time. But yeah, sure, I can't really make intricate designs, I wouldn't think. I mean, fire is, as a spirit, it's unharnessed. It does what it does.
Then why does it listen to you?
Because I help it.
You are like an aid? Are you like its acolyte?
No, I do not worship fire. I just follow it because it helps me and I help it.
Oh, so you are like, it is like the larva, but sometimes you are the larva, and you bring it food, but then sometimes it brings you food.
Exactly.
And then when you come out of your chrysalis, what are you?
Chrysalis? No, we don't come out of chrysalises. No. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. But I do hope You know, when I move fire around, there's always a danger. A danger I could get burnt. I guess that would be a chrysalis in a sense. If I get scorched too badly.
And then
but you have a relationship with plants, right?
We use the fibers to make our bodies. Yes.
Well, did you know that that plant is a spirit?
The plant is a fiber. We use the fiber.
Yes, but what makes a plant grow? But yet the spirits allow it.
Huh. But you do this with fire instead. So fire is your plant, and it grows and does. And you use it to make chrysalises that hurt you, but are good.
However you want to put it in words, sir.
Wow. I want this firepower. You'll show me. You'll show me how to speak to the spirit one day, yes?
Sure. Yeah, we could try. We could try.
Awesome. I feel like that's a scene. I don't have anything.
WAs, as you travel, I feel like maybe you're reminiscing about sort of gambling with all the people who have made a lot of money and then get very drunk during the festival. How does that sort of come out? How does that sort of like come out? I'd love to, I'd love to see sort of something like that, and then I'd love to see sort of, kind of your choice of a scene. But how does your reminiscences about festivals past, since you've been in the South, this Goat Bridge, Eelton, Gaunt Marches area the longest, how does sort of your missing it this year sort of come out in your conversation or in your travel?
I imagine we're traveling through like swampy territory, right?
Yeah.
So like
it's a mixture of swamp, and there's these weird dunes that sort of pop out of the landscape, even though you don't really see a place that dunes would normally form. Like there's no big lake or anything like that.
Right. So yeah, imagine like I see a snake, and I like it freaks me out because I'm afraid of snakes, and I kind of like jump behind White Raven. Like I'm like, White Raven, freeze it. Snakes don't like cold. Snakes don't like cold. Like I'm freaking out because I hate snakes.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm like thinking about them eating the snakes during their fasting period and that damn innkeeper. And I'm like, that freaking snake eating innkeeper. I swear, if I wasn't afraid of snakes, I'd catch one and I put it in his bed alive. They shouldn't be eating snakes. That's just wrong. White Raven, walk in front. I don't want any snakes near me.
White Raven, how do you sort of respond to this sort of like a snake anxiety and also this kind of insistence that you're the person who's going to drive the snakes away?
I think she just kind of laughs and like just maybe takes his head off with her axe, and she's not too concerned about. She's maybe even a bit overly confident about her survival skills in this area that she's not super familiar with, but she's lived in on the brink of survival in very extreme conditions most of her life, so a snake doesn't scare her too much.
No, you don't have to kill them. Just use your cold. They won't come near us if it's cold. It's always cold around you.
Please don't.
She is probably maintaining like a nice like cold breeze like most of our walk, which maybe Nurk isn't really happy about.
Not especially.
Especially after you step in the pools or wade through a bit of the swamp, and then all of a sudden there's a cold breeze on you.
Yeah, if there's like an especially large swamp to cross, you might try to like freeze it and walk across or something, and others might be I don't know how they would react to that.
Elnurk is fine with not getting wet. Is willing to tolerate the cold in that sense, but in general is probably keeping his distance from White Raven. Not because he doesn't like White Raven, because he does, but, you know, it's just real cold around her.
Deviace, is there another scene you'd like to have?
Yeah, just real quick, like I would imagine like this is a scene, you know, perhaps it's night and you know, you can hear the wildlife of the swamp like all around us and the hum of insects and all of this. I'd like to hear like everybody's like fears about, you know, if we don't take down this necromancer, like what's the worst that can happen? And Davi's fear is that, you know, although like he's not like the most liked person in Goat Bridge, you know, if he's not able to pull this off, they may look down on him even more.
I think White Raven's ultimate fear is dying at the hands of this necromancer and returning as an undead, as that would be like a I don't know, major shame for tribe and potentially upset. I think they're very superstitious because it's like a little streak of bad luck could wipe out a whole community. So they're you know, very worried about pleasing the gods, and that would be a most unfortunate fate.
White Raven, if you die at the hands of the necromancer, I promise to consume your corpse and turn it into a wonderful exoskeleton.
Says, I suppose that is a slightly less worse fate, but I'd prefer something different. Maybe take my body with you and leave it in a cave.
I will take you to the swarm. The swarm lives in the cave.
It would become bug food anyway.
Yes, I have no issue returning to the earth, but I'd prefer it be in the north with my people.
So, Scissors, what should we do with your body should you fall?
You should take the strong parts that you don't have and put them on your body for safety and protection.
Yeah.
Tapping on the shell a little bit.
Would you like to be returned to your hive? So maybe they could use your parts?
Oh, she will always have me. If I am not here, I am with her. The only reason I am here is to be part of her again.
I don't find this line of thinking to be especially productive, to be honest. We're not going to fail. We're the heroes.
Okay, so just think for a second, Nurk. If you do fall, and any of us make it out of here, what story do you want us to tell about your fall?
I mean, if I fall, I'm getting back up again.
I mean permanently. Like it's over.
I really don't see how that's relevant, because like, have you ever read a story where that happens to the heroes? I didn't think so. I sure haven't.
Nurk is right. There's no point in talking about failure. It can only draw us away from victory.
I mean, it's not going to hurt, because we'll win anyway. As long as we stay, you know, focused and keep our spirits.
But Nurk,
sometimes we don't stray from the path.
But Nurk, you gotta have that fear. You gotta have that fear within you.
No, you need courage.
No, there is courage, but there is no courage without fear. Courage is facing the fear. That is what courage is. If you are fearless, you can't be brave.
I think someone might have misinformed you on what courage is, my friend.
Courage is facing your fear. Courage is taking down a necromancer even if you're scared. So if you go in there fearless and you cut down that necromancer without fear, it wasn't brave.
Yeah, that's brave.
No, I'm
Not
sorry.
being scared of the necromancer. I don't see why you have to complicate this.
Just don't rush in, my friend. Just don't rush in.
No promises.
Nurk, what fear are you not admitting to in this situation? And what memory are you associating with that?
I think it's not necessarily a super specific fear, but sort of an overall fear of death and being killed. And I think it's associated with the memory of, at one point, his village, his little village that he lived in the caves, was attacked by something or someone, and a bunch of the kobolds living there, were massacred. And the ones that survived, Nurk included, ran and found a new place to live. And I think that's what he thinks of. Thinks of hiding and watching everyone else be killed.
And WAS, do you feel like that's seen? Awesome. All right. Nurk, you are last. It's the 4th day. Or you can flash back to an earlier part of the journey. What scene would you like to have?
I'd love to just have a little scene with Nurk and Scissors in the night. I don't know, is Scissors nocturnal?
Yeah, probably. My eyes see a whole different color spectrum, so I'm sure being up at night's pretty standard.
Okay. Well, Nurk isn't, but he's up. I don't know, I'd just be interested in having a conversation between the two characters,
Sure.
So what's your deal, huh?
My deal, I am, I think, like you talk about being a hero. Is a hero the one who gets the girl?
Yeah. Or, the damsel doesn't have to be a girl, Just, these humans, very limited and they're very narrow-minded.
Yes. Yes. True.
But the damsels, whoever is in danger, yeah, that's generally how it goes.
I am to be getting the girl too.
Oh, congrats.
Yes, I will prove my heroism, and I will be stronger, and I will have bigger, more amazing adaptations, and the queen will mate with me.
You and me both. Well, not the last part, but everything else. You and me both, my friend. And he grabs a fly out of the air.
You eat us too, and I snatch one as well.
Yeah. Can you believe these guys? They're like, bugs are gross to eat. Crazy.
Best for building hard outer scale. And I'm scratching at you because you've got scales too, right?
Yeah, not an exoskeleton, obviously, but
I'll say that is why you are tough.
Mammals, am I right?
What is this mammal?
Oh, it's like the humans and dwarves and gnomes and such. They're the ones that they have hair and they get pregnant, and they don't lay eggs.
Just Gestation is such a waste of time.
Yeah, and they're like bodies eat themselves. It's really weird.
Ew.
They have to eat a lot.
Hmm.
You seen how much these guys eat?
I can go for days.
Same. You know, a good meal lasts me a couple days.
So, if our deals are the same, and we both defeat the necromancer, will you go to my queen as well?
No, I have my own queen, my friend, and that queen is Glory.
Oh. Okay.
I just want people to remember me.
Oh. I find the best way to be remembered is to be the one who does something hard for somebody else.
That's my feeling too. And I think that's a scene.
Yeah, good.
All right. So, fourth day. Somebody is things have been perilous. There's not a road here. And we're going to use the Perilous Wilds move for this. Traveling through dangerous lands. Who's scouting ahead and who's plotting the course?
I will scout ahead.
Awesome. Who's plotting the course?
I think they had me as the guide, right? So that'll probably be me.
So, Scissors, I'd like you to roll with intelligence.
Okay.
And feel free to do it online or offline, whatever is easiest for you.
I almost typed the Roll20 command for rolling dice into the Google chat.
That used to work. It used to work.
Did it?
Yeah, long ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
You know, it works in Hangouts chat though.
It does work in Hangouts chat.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I got 8.
8.
I also got an 8.
Oh, wait, no, I lied. I've got a wisdom of 0. I got a 6.
You're adding intelligence. Nurk will be adding wisdom.
Okay, then yes, I got an 8.
All right.
8 buds.
Nurk, let's start with you. What was your total?
8.
You're adding your wisdom. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Is yeah, I got that good wisdom.
So you're going to pick one of these.
Yeah. I actually have the book. I can find it in a sec.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah. I would like to. I would like to notice a sign of a nearby danger.
Okay. I know Spencer has heard this one before, but I will. You are scouting ahead, and you're moving along pretty cautiously. And I think you hear 2 humans sort of arguing at something. And you know from listening to them that they're cantors. They are criminals. They are people who are speaking to each other in the shorthand used by highway folk and road bandits. And they are arguing about something. What tells you, what signature word or expression or tells you they are arguing over something they they found. They're also arguing highly enough that you think you can get pretty close to them.
My first thought was the thing they found is just a bit between them. But no, you said
yeah,
something
you're hearing
in their
something.
voice,
You're hearing something about like
voice,
either what they've said in Thieves' Cant, or something that they've or something that about the tone of voice.
I think I can't make up Thieves' Cant off the top of my head, but I think like whatever the Thieves' Cant word or expression for like this is my private stash, or this is marked to be mine, like that's being said a lot and seems to be the crux of the argument. Also, are there like trees around?
Oh yeah, you've got lots of cover.
Yeah, I'm gonna climb a tree and try to get as above them as I can.
These dunes are very old, and they've got some pretty dense pine forest sort of on top of the, in the sand. So yeah, you've got a view of them, and you see them having sort of a tug of war of something. And I don't think you necessarily know Thieves' Cant, but it's something about the way they say this word that would be otherwise innocuous in the common tongue, like dessert or bread, or something that would sound otherwise innocuous. They're arguing intensely about, and they don't sound like they're weak and starving. They sound like they're an argument. And you see them kind of tussle over something, and you can't really make out as you kind of sneak up on them what it is. And they both sort of lunge forward, grab it, and sort of pull away. And they're one of them is reaching for a knife, when all of a sudden the knife hand gets sort of sharply yanked behind his back, like just as he gets the knife out, and the knife sort of sprawls to the ground, and you see a tentacle sort of come back and he sort of spins him around, and you realize that what they're holding between them is just kind of a lump of like arms or tentacles of something, and all of a sudden their hands are sort of like entangled, and they yell, and then they're sort of just dragged into the sand, and they skid across the sand into the grass, and you hear them splash down into the water, and you hear a struggle for a few minutes, but then it just very suddenly stops, one at a time. Like one of them just stops kicking and thrashing, and then a few seconds later the other stops kicking and thrashing.
So would I have had time to drop down and interfere?
Let's have you do that. Yeah.
Yeah. How far am I from the rest of the party, by the way?
You're scouting ahead, so I always feel like you're a few hundred feet to a few hundred feet out.
All right. Yeah. My thinking was I was going to drop down from the trees and sort of try to slash the tentacle.
Right. Okay. As they're being pulled into it, make a hack and slash roll.
Yeah. That's a 6. Even with 2 dexterity, that is a 6. Boy. Okay.
They see you come up on them. And they try to use you as an anchor. And one of them just sort of grabs onto you. Not even like, oh my God, it's a kobold. This must be a kobold trap. Not even able to form those words. I think actually one of them does say that it's a goddamn kobold trap, before a tentacle just sort of slides into his mouth and sort of snaps him backwards towards the grass, as he's gasping for air. And the other one, just trying to like anchor himself, tries to grab onto you, unwisely hoping that a kobold will form a good anchor for a 180-pound human being dragged across the sand. And he pulls you along. And the other one, as he's being pulled along, stops thrashing. You heard him thrashing the whole time as he was pulled down. And all of a sudden you see you see his sort of head and hands just kind of floating for a second after he stops thrashing, as you're being kind of skidded into the grass, and you see the swamp water. And then you see the red all around him as he's sort of pulled down. And then the other one who's holding on to you goes limp and stops thrashing, and is pulled further down, and you see the red sort of spread out in the water from where he is. And the tentacles are sort of probing around, sensing that there's something else out there. What do you do?
Well, I get back on my feet and step back with my sword at the ready. I'm sort of backing away from the tentacle thing slowly.
I'd like you to defy danger real quick with let's do it with dexterity, since you're an agile creature and seem like the kind of person. Actually, no. I'd like you to defy danger with wisdom.
Okay. Either way, that's a mixed success. 9 with dex or 8 with wisdom.
It's not a... What did Nurk leave behind in the Kobold Caves? And has always kind of missed it or regretted leaving it.
I think there was little sort of like a stuffed animal, but made in part with a small animal's skull, that he had as a young kobold, and was not able to grab in his hurried exit from the caves. And he misses that reminder of being a kid and his parents.
I think you should back away, Nurk. You see what you're almost certain is that very stuffed animal sort of resting atop a bit of sand about 6 feet closer to the water that you've just backed away from. But it's sort of like just sort of resting, kind of half buried into the sand. It's a slushy bit of sand, like maybe some shallow quicksand. And the creature has gone very, very, whatever those tentacles were from has gone very, very still.
Okay.
You're muted. Yeah.
Yeah. I was, I probably should have healed since last session, huh?
Yes, you should. Yeah, everybody should be.
Yeah, I think. He's not stupid enough to like rush in immediately to grab it, but he doesn't know enough about like what is going on to recognize it as necessarily an obvious trap. So I think he's going to cautiously, slowly approach it, and like as he gets near, first poke it with the tip of his sword very, very gently, like on the skull bit, so it wouldn't pierce the stuffing.
You're poking it with your bone sword?
Yeah, just very gently.
And I feel like the rest of the party is getting near. It definitely sort of bounces under the sand. As if it's in some sort of quicksand sort of environment. And you think it may have you saw something about it sort of shift.
Like in its appearance?
Yeah, yeah.
Can I hear that the rest of the party is approaching?
I think so. I mean, you know, they're not that far behind you, and you've been down dealing with these bandits, trying to rescue a couple of bandits for a while.
Are we close enough where we might have? Did we hear screams at all, or are we just kind of continued?
You weren't close enough to hear those screams,
okay.
But I think you may be close enough to hear splashing. You have heard, you know. Actually, no. Unless Nurk says something, you won't really hear much. But I think you can see where Nurk was. I mean, you're on sand. It's really hard to, unless you're really intentionally going slow to cover your tracks.
No, well, I would like to step back, get back far enough to just sort of call White Raven over. Like,
okay,
hey, I need you to freeze some quicksand for me.
All right, so White Raven approaches. Do I see the? I mean, if it appears as tentacles to me, I think I would take some pause. But if it,
yeah, you don't see any tentacles. You see something sort of jutting from the sand in front of Nurk.
Mm-hmm. But
you'll need to be that you want. I mean, I'm assuming you're fairly far back, sort of kind of up the embankment.
Mm-hmm. I just kind of like.
This is a little bit lower and closer to the water's edge.
I'm like, why can't we just go around?
This weird tentacle thing has it has my whatever it's called. It has my doggy.
Do you say that last word in kobold?
What?
Do you say that last word in kobold?
I think it is a kobold word that means something entirely different.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, I hear doggy, but it actually means like small, probably just like a generic term for like a small, cute creature.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like
and be spelled different.
You never had a dog. Been you with you for days.
No, this is from home. It has it, but it's in the quicksand. So
it's in the quicksand.
I want to get it.
Wait, Raven, it's really just sort of
trying to lure me in with it, but I'm not stupid. And I'm going to get it without falling into its trap.
White Raven, you're seeing sort of something just sort of brown and lumpy kind of emerge from the sand.
Okay.
It is a tentacle, but it's sort of like a tentacle that's just kind of emerged and gone back down. So you're just sort of seeing the edge of it.
So there's a tentacle creature that has your dog, and you want me to freeze?
You're
My dog.
seeing you're seeing no dog.
Yeah.
There's no cute stuffed animal there.
It's not a dog. It's a entirely different thing. It's a kobold thing. Don't worry. It's mine is what's important, and I want it is the other thing that's important. So I need you to like freeze that quicksand, and like I guess the tentacle holding that is, I think, holding it under the quicksand. I'm not entirely clear. Just freeze that area, but don't freeze the dog, so I can get it.
Okay, I guess White Raven gets cautiously a little bit closer to see if she can see what this dog is that he's talking about.
This whole time, Davy is like standing on the side, just watching this whole conversation, shaking his head.
You guys are about 10 feet up, kind of a sandy embankment.
Yeah, I'm just shaking my head.
There is pretty packed. It's packed enough that plants to grow in. But once you sort of get to like an embankment that goes down, the sand is loose again. So it's.
Is this something? If this was a creature that existed in the north, I feel like maybe, but I'm assuming it's probably not, right? This is kind of a swamp type creature.
You've never seen anything like this.
Okay.
Oh yeah, unless you want to spout lore about it or something like that.
I think,
or try to discern something about it. If you want to kind of investigate it or try to remember something, or
I'm like, is it really worth trying to confront some kind of strange tentacle in a quicksand to get this doll?
Yes, obviously.
It's like, all right, well,
it's fine. We know its tricks.
Leave it.
Like,
just
if you
forget
die,
about it. This
is not going to be a very good story, but we'll embellish it.
Yeah. Look, it's not the necromancer. We don't need to fight the big monster yet. Just freeze its arm so I can get my thing.
All right, so I guess so wait, we're gonna try to freeze the quicksand.
Yeah. What move are you making,
So I have a move called freeze, and that move doesn't specifically call out freezing. Let's see. It's for freezing someone within reach. I guess maybe I want to use Winter Wonderland, which is if I make a structure of ice and snow. I don't know. I guess either of those I could sort of work. I'm thinking the freeze kind of. I mean, it would be the same thing as freezing a person. I'm just aiming it at the sand instead. It's kind of what I'm thinking. You can tell me if that works, I guess.
Yes, I'm muted. Sorry. I was talking at great length about how that was you were making the perfect move.
All right.
Hey, Richard, can I take like 5 real quick? Because I really got.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, please, and I was gonna end right after this. So.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. Go ahead and make the roll, and then let's take a break.
Okay. That is a 11.
An 11? Awesome. Tell me how it applies real quick, since that is your choice.
So I'm directing it at, I guess, the sand and the tentacle, and it's gonna be the kind of freeze in place. So I'm trying to immobilize the sand and the tentacle, just kind of freeze everything in place.
Right. It's empty. The arm is empty. And as soon as the freeze happens, you see that, Nurk. There's nothing in that arm.
What did you do?
It's just an empty tentacled arm, just sticking out of the sand. And let's go in and take 5, and well, I'll see you guys back in 5 minutes.
Like a 5. can't believe doggy is the thing I came up with.
You know, it's a kobold word.
Yeah. Well, I know what it is I GM'd a campaign session of Dungeon World this morning and used up all of my improv skills.
So you have a like a daily limit on how much brilliance you can do.
Yeah, I think it's a finite resource, I think.
Yeah, you got to sleep to get. It's like hit points in D&D. You got to
Exactly.
sleep and you come up back.
Sleep and regenerate. Yeah.
Yeah. Sleep, eat 3 squares. You're good. No, doggy is great. I think doggy was exactly the right word for the moment.
I think we made it work.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys were sitting there debating what to do about this tentacle. I almost just rushed into the water and, it's slowing us down. It's inefficient. It's unnecessary. We just got to get this taken care of.
No, don't be foolish. Don't fall into its trap. Be smart like Nurk. Because he totally understands what's going on here.
All right, everyone's back.
Yeah.
All right. Scissors, you are a being of the marches, especially these swamplands. Do you think you know much about this creature, or is it as new to you as it is to everybody else?
Yeah, I think this is probably the first time I would have encountered it, because even though we're near the marches, we don't interact with them much.
Right. So White Raven, you would very effectively freeze this thing, and you were super effective because you saw sort of the icy pattern. Kind of travel into the sand, and you saw the sand sort of shrink, where it's whatever makes up this arm contracted. The cartilage or whatever sort of contracted, and the frost pattern over the ice just sort of sinks in, and it heads back to the water. And all of a sudden, in the grass, you hear this thrashing, and the where you saw the tentacle or arm come up, it just starts twitching. Not the arm itself, because it's frozen in place, but the space around it. You realize that you have very effectively frozen this thing in place, and it is trying to break itself free away from the ice trap that you've created. And you hear thrashing, and you hear sort of a screech, a loud screech. And what are all of you doing? The doggy is gone, Dirk. It's like it was never there. You were just looking at a tentacle.
This is my favorite tactic: the hold in place and then pummel. And so I kind of like open up one of my claws, and you see like this little hose looking thing protrude. I'm going to start shooting spines at the place that's like vibrating.
Yeah, the place where you hear this kind of screeching and seeing the grass sort of.
Mm-hmm.
It can't really. Well, go ahead and. What's the move you're really going for there?
So I think it's called field test. So I'm using one of my pieces of equipment, and I'm shooting spines at it.
Awesome. Go ahead. Is that a roll, or does that just happen?
Yeah, it's a roll.
Okay. If it's deferring to hack and slash, you don't really need to do it. The thing can't move or get away. So.
No. Yeah, I think this is more about what can go wrong with my gear.
Right. Okay. Let's roll that.
I got a 9, 10.
10, awesome. So what happens on a 10?
On a 10. Describe what it does and roll plus int. On a hit, it works as expected. Hold on a second. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This isn't field test. This is when you use one of your gadgets to volley, if you would mark an ammo spin charge. Okay, so it's acts like a volley, I guess.
Okay. Let's go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay.
Is any of the from where we're standing on the sand? Is any of the tentacle visible, or did it retract under the?
Oh
sand?
yeah. No. It definitely contracted in the sense of like it shrank.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's but it's still there. The ice is not letting it leave.
3 damage, 2 piercing.
3 damage, 2 piercing.
White Raven's gonna lift her axe up over her head and like she's splitting a log. Just bring it down on the tentacle.
Yeah. What would normally be the damage on that axe?
It's +1. Let's see, what is my playbook? I think I'm a dice 6. Dice 6 +1.
Okay. I'm gonna have you go ahead and roll because this creature still has a few tricks up its sleeves, a few moves it can make.
So roll hack and slash.
Yeah, roll hack and slash.
Ooh, 6s. So it's a total of 13.
Awesome. 1 second. One second. You had a total of 13, right?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Roll your damage. Do you want to? Do you want to potentially put yourself in danger to get a harder hit?
No. I'm just gonna go with the base damage here.
All right.
Roll a 5 +1, so 6 damage.
6. All right. Yeah, this tentacle, you hear it just break, and you hear the screech in the grass, and you hear more breaking, and you see more vibration under the sand. And whatever it is, it seems to be sort of pulling itself away from its own tentacles. What are y'all doing as it screeches in pain?
Nurk is leaving, sheathing his sword. Says, "We have a necromancer to defeat. Should not waste our time with this creature." And starts walking back.
What about everybody else?
I'm like, Nurk, you don't want to kill it and find out what it is?
It's a weird swamp monster. What's there to find out? Necromancer.
Davy's still sitting up there on the berm, like just watching this whole these two attack it and just wondering why are we even messing with this beast? And is nodding his head as Nurk begins to walk away finally.
Scissors and White Raven, what's going on with you guys?
Yeah, the pheromones have engaged. I'm in full battle mode. I'm rushing through the water now. Splash, 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 splash. Close. I thought we were working as a team. I thought we had it pinned.
Yeah, I think White Raven starts rushing in, and she's just the Nurk. As she moves, she's like, "I guess the glory will be all ours then."
Nurk. Or sorry. Let's start with Scissors. Do you want to roll a hack and slash there? Or do you got some other tricky stuff up your sleeve?
Yeah, it'll be a hack and slash. I'm going to use one of my charge so I can roll with my intelligence instead.
Nice. Okay.
An 8.
An 8.
Yes.
That is. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Oh.
For yourself.
It'll be forceful, I think, is the only tag I have on that.
Okay. And what total damage you got?
4's my total.
4?
Yep.
And you lurch forward, and what did you attack with? What did this look like?
Yeah, so I've got these kind of like arms that sit underneath my regular hand arms, and they like kind of pop out, and they've got clubs on the end, and so I'm just like, it's springing forward and like poof, poof, like a boxer's gloves or something.
What you find in the grass as those make contact, just one above and one below the eye socket, smashing into the face of what looks like a great beaked octopus, screeching. And I think as you come out, it bites down on one of your legs. And I need you to roll a D10.
6.
Yeah, you're going to take 6 damage. Armor will reduce that, but you take 6 damage as it bites hard onto your chitinous leg or chitinous leg. Why don't we see what White Raven's up to?
So Scissors is in the water fully, right? With this
Right.
thing? Okay.
Seems to be standing on top of something in the grass. And the sand is still sort of shaking as it's trying to sort of either retract its tentacles or possibly even just break them away, much like you broke it away.
Are there any tentacles I can swing out with my axe without getting in the water? Or do I need to get in the water at this point?
You would need to get into the water. Like what other tentacles are in there are buried deep in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
I think. All right. I guess. I guess White Raven will just jump in the water and start swinging her axe and stuff.
Awesome.
Trying to catch a tentacle.
Why don't you roll hack and slash?
While you roll that, I want to call out to Davi. Davi, come! It's for the good of everyone. If we kill it, we can eat it.
I think it's going to eat you first. Don't worry, I'll take your parts back to your people.
I got a 6.
Oh, man. What does White Raven miss the most about home?
I think she misses her mother figure that taught her to control the wind.
You move in to swing. And you can't tell whether it's in the tentacles held up. Is your mother figure reaching out to you? Your adopted mother, correct? Roughly? Sort of reaching out to you. No one else sees this, just you. How do you respond? What do you do?
I think she's. I don't know if she'd be. I think she's smart enough not to like reach out and embrace it, but I don't think if she could bring herself to swinging the axe at it. So I think she's just kind of momentarily stunned and staring at this figure of her mother.
What about everybody else? White Raven is very suddenly stopped.
Is this beast like being aggressive, or is it like just trying to get away?
It's now being aggressive. It's retracted several of its tentacles. It's brought them up in front of White Raven in sort of a weird pattern, like it's about to strike her.
Is it like stuck? Is it still stuck?
It's still pulling away.
Where is the beaked part at? Is that in the center?
It's sort of emerging from the grass.
Okay. Because White Raven sort of
kind of in there.
Nurk on. And now is seeing Scissors and White Raven struggle. So I think what Nurk intends to do is sort of do a... how far, approximately, like, away is the beak part?
You could get to... I mean, you could bound over to it.
Yeah.
You're small and fast.
I mean, would I have to run and leap, or just leap from where I am at?
You need to run and leap.
Okay, then he's going to turn around. He wants to turn around, run towards it, then jump, do a flip in the air, and come down on top of the beak part, just stabbing sword into the ground.
Roll hack and slash, please.
That's a 5. Wait. That says a 4 and a 3.
A 4 to 3 would be 7.
Oh, I think I accidentally only rolled 1.
Do you want to, do whatever you need to do.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay, that's a 12 total.
Nurk, roll your damage.
Yeah. 2.
Nurk, do you want to kind of put yourself in harm's way?
Absolutely.
All right.
And that's another 5.
Nice. All right. Nurk, you came down on its beak. And you felt the bone sword slide in. And then you twisted. And the tip went in deeper and connected with something. But then it thrashed. And you were pulling your bone sword out when its thrash suddenly like sent it over backwards and threw you back onto the shore. I'd like you to roll let's roll a d8.
Seven.
You come down hard. And you were thrown way up in the air, and landed hard, flat, kind of halfway into the frozen water, and then halfway onto the sand, which is still cold. And the wind is knocked out of you. You're on your back, and you are in pain from, and you've taken 7 damage, but you're mainly in pain just from landing so hard. But the creature has stopped moving, and White Raven, you're no longer seeing the thing, and the tentacles around you just collapse. You're no longer seeing your adopted mother, and Scissors, it's no longer moving. It's sort of rolled back. You're able to sort of scuttle back to sort of like, and its face is now just the front of its head, what would be its face if it was a little less cephalopody, is just sort of rolled up facing the sky. What do you do? Or my question right there is, what do you take away as you leave?
Just all of us, or just the?
Yeah, it's for anybody there. What do you take away as you leave?
I think I would like chew around its beak and pull out if it's got a skull attached to the beak or just the beak itself. That's what I want from the creature.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
I think the big tentacle that I severed with my axe. I'm gonna take that piece, and that's gonna be dinner.
Nice.
Can I still see like where the thieves' corpses are?
Not much. It seems like they and then all of a sudden you see a piece of a torso sort of float back to the surface. This thing made very short, quick work of them.
Is there anything in the torso's pockets?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think there's a purse.
I think I'll actually take my survival knife and cut open its stomach, see if there's anything.
The creature's stomach?
The creature's stomach. See if there's anything interesting in there.
There's the hand of one of the thieves. And there's the knife the thief was holding. It was still sheathed. Like he was so desperate to try to get that knife, he like left it, he didn't even get it out of its sheath before he was taken. And there's just some random like goop with like pebbles and coins and stuff like that in it. Digested organic matter just sort of sitting on top of indigestible stuff.
Yeah, I guess I'd like pick through it a little bit with my knife, but if nothing looks particularly interesting or valuable, I'd just leave it.
Something about the dagger looks interesting, but you'd need some time to sort of sit and look at it. There's something about the etching along the blade. It looks old. Same thing with the coins in that purse, Nurk. They're enameled. Yeah, they're enameled, and they don't have anything on them that would suggest any sort of current coin issuing group.
Okay. Oh, I'm just searching for personal effects. Deliver them to their families. Old habits die hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So
not many personal effects left. Though these coins are weird, and there's a lock of hair, kind of wrapped into it's very curly hair, red.
Okay. Nurk takes that as well as the weird coins, although
Very wet right now, but
he was mostly looking for coins. Are the coins like? Do I think they'll be usable as currency?
you don't know if they'll be usable as currency. You'd need to have somebody take a look at them or try to figure out something about them, or you might know something about them. But they might be useful as for a trade or sale.
Okay. I'll take them then.
I mean, some of the enamel is broken or chipped, but there's a few intact pieces.
I think White Raven will take the stagger and maybe plan to study it
Awesome.
when I make camp.
So I'd like to move you guys to kind of your last night of camping before you expect to arrive at the area Scissors told you about. And you've already used up 4 provisions. Who's managing provisions tonight? Like, who's cooking that tentacle meat?
White Raven will, unless anyone else is particularly
I'll cook it.
excited to do it.
I know how to work a fire. I'll cook it.
Okay.
And how do you cook it, White Raven? Or sorry, Davi. Davi.
Oh, I cook it slow.
Okay.
I don't like to cook it fast because it'll dry out the meat.
Yeah.
I've been kind of jabbing everybody all day about the whole fight because the whole time Davi was just sitting up there watching it. Thinking it was a useless fight. Didn't really need it. But I guess it brought us our meal, so should be thankful for that at least.
So I don't think we need to manage provisions tonight.
Do we all mark off 4 rations then?
Yeah, you should all mark off
Okay.
4 rations, but you won't need to mark off a 5th.
Okay.
Um,
The last one.
You are, however, bedding down in dangerous lands. What's your watch order? There's only 4 of you, so one of you will need to take each watch.
I'll take first watch. The other ones are probably tired.
But second watch.
I'll take second.
Third?
I'll take third, or if White Raven wants third.
No preference. Yeah, I'll take the last watch. That's fine.
Awesome.
Okay.
So Nurk, just roll. You won't get to add anything right now.
$10.
Yeah. You've had you get through the night, as did the 2 people before you, and you've had a very satisfying meal of sort of a brackish, swampy cephalopod. It's as tasty as people in the marches say it is, and then the night passes fine for White Raven, and you wake up. It's a new day. Scissors, tell me a little about the spot you're leading them to. That the ants, that everything was moving away from.
They described it as a mound, and that may be just their perspective on life. And it's supposed to be surrounded by deep waters, and there's only one walkway that they've seen anybody come in and out of, and they kept on just saying it's always watched. Someone's always watching.
So you approach, you travel a few more hours, and it's getting to the early afternoon. When you come up on a jetty, just sort of out of nowhere, into the marshlands. And across from the jetty on a small sort of island, or at least right now it's an island. It's almost like a lump of sand and silt, just kind of rising out. There's a standing stone with a face carved into it. But it's not human and it's not kobold. What is it? White Raven.
The face carved into the standing stone. What race is it?
Yeah. Or what creature or being or
I think it is some kind of like a snake person.
Yes. Divies. Davies. Sorry. What about this standing stone with this snaky face carved into it lets you know it is standing guard or standing watch?
Well, number one, it's a snake. And snakes are always staring into your soul. Slithery bastards. So I know that if somebody builds a snake this big, it's meant to keep people like me out.
There's a definite trail sort of winding up around the standing stone towards some of the top of the mound, or around the mound. And otherwise, for a sandy dune mound in the middle of a swamp, it looks moderately pleasant. It's got some stone and clearly placed there, and there's trees, but none of them particularly high or blocking the sunlight. And the jetty ends, and it's about maybe 30 or 40 feet from the end of the jetty to the where you would pull up whatever you'd row. Onto the land there.
So we'd have to like swim? Is that what you're saying? To get there?
Yeah. You're not seeing a boat. But there's someone sitting at the end of the jetty, sort of cross-legged. There's a small person, not freakishly small, just kind of a small-framed person in a very old style, of sort of kind of toga cloak with a gray bare shoulder, kind of facing away from you.
I walk over and I sit next to him. I don't say anything. I just walk over and sit next to whoever this person is. Are they sitting like cross-legged, or are they like?
Yeah, they're just sort of sitting cross-legged at the end of the dock. And Davi, you sit down next to him, or it. It's kind of hard to tell. And you hear a voice come out. Without really seeing the lips move. In fact, you're fairly sure the face is dead. And it just says, "Are you here to see the master?"
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to see the master.
From where we're standing behind, right? So we don't see the dead face.
Yeah. Anything you want to do? Because I think at that point you hear some rowing.
Like rowing, like a boat rowing?
Yeah, and sort of kind of coming around the bend, you see like a skiff. It's almost like it's a little bit more like a large rowboat. And it's being rowed by these kind of gray-scaled, dingy kobolds.
I asked
moving in a slow, sort of rhythmic manner.
I asked the corpse thing. Is that your master coming?
Oh no. That is your transportation.
Excellent. So tell me, are you enthralled to him or her?
It doesn't really look at you. And a few seconds later, it sort of just says, "Are you here to see the master?"
I am. But do you seek release?
I do not know if the master has release, but you may ask the master to release you.
Okay. I think I understand.
Are you here to seek the master?
I am. So the boat's coming, right?
The boat is actually fairly close. And these sort of stilted small kobolds are just sort of rowing. And they just sort of it almost seems like they accidentally just sort of drift next to the jetty and sort of like use their kind of half-heartedly use their oars to kind of feel out where the jetty is and pull alongside it, and then they just sit frozen in the boat.
So yeah, I stand up and I look at everybody else and I point to the boat. I'm like, shall we? But first, does anybody have a torch I could perhaps use?
Aren't you like fire master?
Yeah, I can manipulate fire, but I need fire first. And the sun's a little far away for me to pull.
Sun's not made of fire. That'd be silly.
Does it not melt the ice, Sir Nurk?
True. I'll happily give up one of my adventuring gear to give Davi a torch.
Nice.
Okay, so what I'm just gonna go ahead and say like what I'm planning to do here. As we move away from the dock, I want to light the torch and then move the fire over to the man sitting at the end of the dock.
That sounds good. Yeah. You are. I think it sounds like you're using Master of the Elements. Am I thinking of the?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll with wisdom.
Hope this goes well so we don't set the boat on fire. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Goes real well. It's 14.
Yeah. Is everybody getting into the boat? Is anybody not getting into the boat?
How wide is this river that we're crossing?
It's only like 30 or 40 feet. It's not really a river. It's just kind of, it's a swamp. So it's just like another pool of water. But it's about 30 or 40 feet to the far from the jetty to the sort of the embankment on the other side from which that standing stone is standing.
I would like to sort of poke around the kobolds and see if they're alive or not.
They definitely do not seem alive. And Nurk, I'd like to know from you what makes them seem familiar.
I think it's the eyes. I think, like, non-kobolds can't tell the difference, but, like, every kobold has distinct eyes. And you don't typically forget the eyes of people you knew.
How do you react?
Quietly, I think. Did we see where exactly the boat came from?
And it came from sort of some reeds along the island. You kind of there's a tip of the island not very far away, and it's sort of like some reeds there that it's sort of like shortly after you heard Davi say yes to something that the person on the docks said to him, and shortly after that the boat started moving.
Okay. Do I is it a situation where it seems like we could find our way to the necromancer without having these kobolds rowing the boat?
You do see the where you could pull the boat up on the embankment. And
okay, then I'm gonna are you there? At one of them. See if there's any response.
No response.
Then I think I'm going to attempt to remove their heads. One at a time, I guess, but...
I grab your arm, Nurk, as you reach for your sword.
What are you doing?
Look, the fire can give them release. But I think we should put on a show that, perhaps this necromancer will speak with us. If we show up with his oarsmen not on the boat, we don't know how he will react. Or she.
What'll the necromancer try to do? Try to kill us? It's kind of the plan anyway. Go there. Kill the necromancer.
We'll give him the release after.
Fine.
It'll be beautiful. A burning boat.
I don't think so.
Nurk, which one of them did you know the best? And who is it?
It was the one I was gonna decapitate first. And it was a family friend named Gnar. Like gnarly, but without the Lee. And I think he was sort of yeah, I think he was not literally an uncle, but like an avuncular figure. And it's a little confusing as to how he got here. Would he have been one of the ones who died in the village massacre that I mentioned, or
That's what I was thinking.
then I mean that I think makes sense. I mean, like, yeah, you're the only one who could say as far as like whether the necromancer would have that access to those particular corpses. But yeah, I think then yeah, I think it was an avuncular, a family friend, avuncular figure who was one of the ones killed in the attack. Pat, that's very rude. Aren't all kobolds uncles or cousins of each other? Come on.
Sorry, it's just the adventurer mindset.
Narrow-minded.
Gotcha. It's breaking my heart. How are the rest of you responding to the slow? You know, you're not going very far, but it seems drawn out.
I think
for the threat of violence and also because they're moving moderately slow. It may only take a couple of minutes, but
I think White Raven just wants to freeze a path across the river and walk across.
well, the jetty is now on fire. So
Oh, the jetty's on fire? Okay.
yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah, I burned the man that was sitting on the jetty. I released him with fire.
Okay. And then the boat's still sitting there waiting for us, though?
No, we're
I assumed that you guys had gotten into the boat.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I missed that. Okay.
That's all right.
Then, yeah, I guess I'll just wait for the boat to get there.
And the water seems a little still. Freezing this deep of a body of water would be a significant expenditure of energy. Scissors, what about you?
I think I am going to attempt to comfort Nurk. I can tell that he's out of sorts, and so I'm just going to stand close to him and kind of like vibrate slowly. That's what we do. We huddle. We just kind of like vibrate.
Does it make a buzzing noise like a cicada?
Yeah. Because I've got vestigial wings, so they're.
I don't think Nurk especially notices or cares, but I love it. I'm very happy.
All right. The kobolds just sort of get near to the embankment and stop. Do you guys disembark onto the path?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as soon as we step onto the land, I'm gonna like throw my claws up into the air and like wings spread out and start kind of like dancing back and forth, and I'm shouting, "Master, Master! Your servants have brought us here. We come to greet you." And like it ends in like a swooping bow and like still the vibrating wings.
And you're just kind of as you do that, kind of up the path.
Just kind of announcing that we're entering this person's realm. It's polite to let other leaders know that you're coming to their hovel.
You don't hear a response. Does everybody else getting out of the boat and
I offer Nurk the torch. I'm like, you can do it now.
I do it. I don't hesitate.
Nice.
As the kobolds pull away, I think the torch starts to catch on some of the old wood. And it just starts. The kobolds are still kind of rowing back to their spot as the fire just sort of spreads.
Yeah, I put my hand on Nurk's shoulder. I just kind of give him a pat.
Nurk doesn't stick around to watch.
The master won't like that you're killing all of his drones. The drones are useful, as dumb as they are.
So this whole master thing you are suddenly saying now, why? What is going on with that?
That's his name. Isn't that what the one on the jetty said? He's master.
I think that's just a title. Could just call him the necromancer, or the evil guy, the villain, the monster, the dragon.
I'm gonna start doing my greeting again, this time shouting, "Evil one, evil one! We're here to greet you."
Yeah, okay.
At the top of the dune, this mound, from between trees, you see some sort of togaed figures move up and sort of gesture to you. They don't really come down or descend. They look almost too unsteady to sort of walk down the dune path. If you guys have walked on sand, you can kind of get that. And or up and down a sandy sort of embankment. But they're sort of gesturing from the top broadly. Davi, what about what they're wearing tells you this is not just someone dressed in an old style, but these are very, very old clothes?
I think it's like because they're like sheer. You can see through them. You could actually see their figures like underneath. It's daytime, right?
Right.
So I guess like perhaps maybe like they're backlit by the the sun, and you could actually see the light coming through the robes. They're so thin and worn.
Nice. Okay. But you can still see the golden and silver threads in the edge. And I think that even kind of pulls out that thread. Are you all walking up the embankment? At the top of the embankment, in the midst of a kind of a circle of trees around the edge that seem to have been cleared away, or cleared into a circle, is a marble platform that's open to the air with 4 columns kind of supporting a roof. And the once you get up there's just 3 figures who just sort of gesturing you towards the marble column. And sitting on the marble step, on a small sort of like just kind of open back chair, is what you first think of a man in sort of very, very old style clothes, but much more regal. He's got the red stripe of office on them. And they're just sort of tossed over one shoulder. Scissors, what is it about this man that lets you know he has been put together from the pieces of the swamp? He's no normal
Yeah, the moss and the lichen and all the things that grow everywhere in this swamp are growing and like drooping off of him. And so like if he moves at all, he probably, some of it even falls off because it grows so heavily on him because he is swamp.
And he gestures you forward, but is otherwise sitting completely still. One moment.
I just blurt out, "Do you speak?"
And give me one moment, Pat. I want to. And a voice sort of comes from it that's sort of deep and resonant. And it says, what has brought you into the presence of the incarnation of Iobates, the master?
Are you Iobates? Or is he your master?
I am an incarnation of Iobates. I am the presence of Iobates at this temple.
Well, what does Iobates want with Goatbridge? Why harass the people there?
All right. Could not say what I want with Goatbridge. What in the world has happened to that pathetic little town?
Enough of this.
With its boring people.
Nurk's gonna walk forward and draw his sword. And, if not stopped, is gonna continue and then run it through this guy's head.
Now, I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to be like, okay, Nurk, go get him.
As Nurk approaches, he's like, oh, you've brought me another kobold as a gift. Nurk, I think you want to roll hack and slash at this point.
Yeah.
You know that? Yeah.
Yeah. Some rolls higher stakes than others, huh? That's an 8. So that's not bad.
Roll your damage.
6.
2
piercing.
By the way, after eating last night, all of you healed up to half. You healed an amount equal to half your maximum hit points, correct? Awesome. You got 6, 2 piercing?
Yes.
All right. Where did you run your sword through?
I was aiming for, the brain area, just, through the forehead. Not sure how high up that is, but, Nurk is acrobatic, so if he needs to jump and flip.
So you get a running start and sort of leap forward, sort of almost landing on his knees.
Yeah, that works.
Does that work? Or if there's something cooler, tell me.
I don't want to repeat the flipping and jumping onto the top of the head. So
okay,
I like
his head is also significantly smaller.
Yeah, I like he jumps on his lap to stab him. I think he gets pretty close before.
And does Nurk wear armor?
Taking action. He has leather armor.
Okay. Nurk, your sword goes all the way through sort of his neck and springs out the back, bloodlessly, but not without mud and moss sort of covering it. And there's a moment of a split second of stillness where you think you may have just ended him. And then you see his hand move. And you realize he doesn't so much have hands as have things that look like hands with fingers that have been sculpted out of these sort of red tinged green triple leaves. And he almost gently brings it up and lays his hand just right against your neck and your face. And then you feel almost instantly the burning sensation. Go ahead and roll a d8.
Six.
And then he sort of just tosses you back down the stairs onto the ground. So you take 6 damage between the burning on the side of your neck, where it's starting to even get under your scales. That does not ignore armor, but it will almost, because your leather armor sort of got between you and the part of the touch, but it's but then you were tossed off, and there's sort of like the skin is starting to like blister where he touched you. What is everybody else doing?
I think Wyvern's just charging with her axe. Think, yeah, just gonna, for right now, just gonna try to swing her axe, catch whatever she can of him. He's still sitting down.
Yes, he's still sitting.
And yeah, so get close. I'm gonna swing my axe at him, and then I think the next thing she's may try to do is encase herself in some ice to protect herself. But
go ahead and hack and slash. Yeah, roll hack and slash. How did it go?
Is a 4?
You lunge forward with your axe, and that's why I think one of the 3 attendants grabs you. Do you wear like a cloak or well? You have a pack, correct?
I've got bearskin armor, and I've got some kind of pack because I've got dungeon rations, so I've got
right.
Some kind of pack with me.
So somewhere between like the scruff of the bearskin and the pack, one of the attendants just grabs you and pulls you backwards, kind of smashing you backwards onto the ground with a single arm pull. And then just sort of stands very quietly over you, waiting for you to get up. What are y'all doing?
All right, so this is my idea to combo with Davi. How about I use like an adventuring gear, and we'll call it like some kind of flammable liquid, and I'll vomit this flammable liquid over all kinds of stuff, and then you just light them on fire. What do you think?
Yeah, that'll work. Do I still see the fire from the boat? I'm assuming I do, since it wasn't far of a
yeah. And did Nurk give up the torch? Did you set it down? Did you just toss it onto the boat and forget about it?
I actually didn't specify the way it was described, though. Sounded like the torch was left on the boat, like as it consumed it.
Awesome. Okay. So vomit.
Roll to vomit.
Yeah, so I guess there's 3 of these attendants, right? So if we can, we'll try
Are
and
you
like.
aiming at the attendants, or are you aiming at the?
Yeah, I'm thinking the attendants.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What do I roll for that? Constitution.
What are you rolling? Are you trying to? Is this about the use of equipment, or is this a?
No, this isn't. Yeah, this isn't any of my special thing. This is just I'm using an adventuring gear to.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Why don't we just say it's done? Actually, I'd like you to defy danger to do this as things are moving to intercept you.
If you don't mind me throwing an idea out there, is
Uh-huh.
since I'm about to move fire onto a flammable liquid, you could defy danger of not getting that flammable vomit all over you.
Not provoking the attendants, not provoking the necromancer presence, or and not getting any of it on you or your friends.
Cool. Yeah. What would that be? Defy danger with what?
Let's call that defy danger with con.
Okay.
I will say it's the first time I've ever been asked to figure out how to integrate strategic vomiting.
Oh, this is no good because I'm at a -1 because I put my armor on, and so it is.
Oh no!
For sure.
Well, hopefully my roll goes a little bit better.
How did you do, Spencer?
I got 4 total.
Wow. Yeah, you've successfully coated the attendants, White Raven, and part of Davi's leg, as well as your own front in oil, as well as most of the ground between you.
Lovely.
Also, stomach acid. There is a lot of digestive acid in that.
Are we taking damage from that?
No. I think I've put you in a spot, though. I feel like I've made you.
I think
it's potentially bad enough.
If I have an opportunity before he douses me in fire, I'm going to try to freeze myself.
Why don't you roll to see if you can freeze yourself?
I think it says when you use this move to freeze yourself and you not need to roll, automatically take a result of 10. So
awesome. Okay.
I'm going to use the option to coat my body in ice, which gives me 3 armor, but it means that I can't run, jump, and I move slowly and stiffly.
Are you ready to let that go, Davi?
Yeah, I think I kind of like look back at White Raven, and I look back at everybody to make sure like this still was going to be the thing to happen as I began to like pull in the fire from the boat. Considering there's oil over everything, does like everybody give me the thumbs up? I know Spencer's away right now, but okay.
All right.
Hopefully this goes well. Phew. It's a 9.
What happens on a 9?
So on a 9, let's see. I command what is generally considered a large amount of the element, but I choose 1. The elements you command also run wild. You can only affect what is generally considered a small amount. And you take an additional 1 ongoing to command elements until I purify myself. You know what? I'm just going to turn it into an inferno. I'll take the -1 ongoing.
Okay. Go ahead and roll damage.
The good thing is it's only a D4, so can't hurt us too bad. Actually,
it's an inferno, right? I feel like let's start with a D8.
No. It says if you use your command elements to harm someone directly, roll your damage die. Once the elements are released, however, they cause damage as appropriate to their nature.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. How'd that D4 roll go?
Do you want me to roll a D4 or
Yeah,
do you
start
want
with
to
a
go with
D4,
the
and
fire?
then we'll figure it out sort of like, or roll your damage die, and then we'll figure it out sort of like as it starts to consume things.
It's a 1.
Yeah, I think mostly what you're pulled up is sparks and smoke out of the dying, between the dying of the jetty and the dying of the boat, and embers, but they're starting to catch. Your ice blocks you for now, White Raven, but the other people besides Nurk, I think, will take 1.
Does armor count against that fire?
Armor should count against it.
Wait.
Right now, I think as things catch, it will not. But right now, since what we got was really just sort of embers and smoke and sparks, it will count. What are y'all doing? Things are starting to catch on fire around you.
So, remind me, are any of my teammates currently in a bad spot, like where they need assistance?
White Raven is on her back near one of the attendants, and covered in oil, which is now starting to spark. So is Scissors, and really so is Davi, at least partially covered in oil. You're going to need to sort of, if you want to kind of bolt through that to save somebody, you'll need to do some defy danger just to get there.
Are the attendants still just kind of standing there, like looking down at us?
Yes, right now they're just standing there. Nurk, you see this unnatural thing that's called itself the incarnation of Iobates. You'd swear its face was smiling.
Okay, I don't think I can like help anybody with being covered in oil. So, I'm going to lunge at the incarnation again. This time, trying to cut off one of his arms. Like just doing like more slashy motions, less stabby.
Okay.
Since he doesn't bleed.
Make that roll. Hack and slash.
7.
Go ahead and roll your damage, and then roll a d8.
That's a 7 for my damage and a 6 for the damage that I get onto me. That was not how words should work, but yeah. So 6 on the d8, 7 on the d10.
And you tried to like just run up next to him and carve off his arm?
Yeah, I was just going for like broad slashing motions and try to cut off arm or hand or something.
I think you successfully cut off. It's a pretty brittle, almost bone-like structure that you carve through, and then kind of mud and dry dirt fall out the other end as he grabs it off with his other arm, and it hits you hard with the arm you just carved off, which feels like you just got hit with a brick. And this is when he starts to stand up. What are y'all doing? Things are starting to catch fire back there. I'm especially interested in White Raven, who we left lying on the ground with one of these things standing over her.
Yeah, so the oil didn't make it to the main guy, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay. I'm thinking, I mean, White Raven's kind of cautiously getting up, ready. If the attendant suddenly attacks her, she wants to be ready, but she's going to kind of get up and I'm imagining kind of encased in ice with now maybe flaming oil around her. she's sort of like stiffly walking towards the main throne area.
And I'm actually calling on the wind. I'm kind of upset that these embers just kind of like, you know, just slapped everybody barely. So like I'm calling on the wind to fan these flames.
So you are moving through just past. Why don't you I need you to start by defying danger, White Raven. Just to move past this thing standing over you towards the throne.
Which stat should I roll with?
Let's roll with strength. You seem to be sort of powering through.
It's a 3.
Oh, really?
Snake eyes. Oh my god.
Oh man. Wait, Raven. Yeah, I think the first thing that strikes you is that the knife that's coming at you is much like the knife you found in the belly of that creature that seemed to have been on one of the thieves. And then it hits you with the knife. I'd like you to roll a d6.
Well, at least I'm consistent rolling ones here. So just one.
Yeah. I think you notice that as you sort of like back away from it and roll with it. And I think that gets you clear of the area that's immediately burning as it tries to sort of pivot around. But its upper body sort of moves kind of fast and nimbly, and its lower body is slow and unsteady. So it's trying to sort of pivot around and is really awkward at doing it. It does not get a lot of force behind hitting you. And you're able to sort of like move past. And again, that does not ignore armor or pierce armor. What about everybody else? What's going on?
I said I was trying to call the wind in.
Things are starting to catch, and yeah, you want to call in the wind to sort of fan the flames, correct?
Yeah, I want to make it pretty high.
Right. Now, they're starting to catch on you as well, since you got oil up and down sort of the front of your trousers. I'm needing you to defy danger just to keep the fire off yourself.
Okay.
As it starts to spread across the ground.
What's that?
Defy danger with dexterity, I think.
Okay. The 9.
A 9?
Yep.
You can bounce back, but you will be on your back and not able to really do much to summon anything. Or you can stand there and be part of what you're conjuring. But you are going to you're going to get burned if you stand there and call the wind. Bouncing back is going to kind of send you over a rock or over a rise in the territory and back onto some of the sand. Which is it going to be?
I'm calling the wind.
Okay.
I'll take the heat.
Call the wind, please.
Reroll selected. It's a 9 again. Actually, no, that's a +1 or +2, and then a -1 ongoing. So that's a 10, actually.
Nice. Yeah. I think you have a moment where there's a split second where the wind does not seem to respond. And then you feel like the hot humid breeze sort of whip around you. It's almost like that sort of like deep, muggy day breeze doesn't feel like it's going to do anything. And then all of a sudden it starts to cyclone around the area that Scissors sprayed with oil and whip into feeding and containing and sort of spreading the flames around. And all of a sudden the oil just catches and goes up. I'd like you, Davi, to roll a d8 for what happens to the attendants. And then I'd like Davi and Scissors to both roll a d8 as well.
You want me to roll 2 d8s?
Just roll 1 d8 for the attendants and 1 d8 for yourself.
Okay.
Just gonna shout out, if anyone wants to get frozen, just let me know.
So I rolled a 2 for the attendants and a 4 for myself.
All right. The attendants are sort of standing there in the fire, and I think by the time you're able to tumble back out of the blazes, you've badly burned sort of the front of your legs. How did you do, Scissors?
I rolled a 6.
Okay. Yeah, you took the 6 damage. What are you up to as the fire you sprayed around starts to spread and starts to burn you and Davi?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the pain for the sake of the greater good of my friends. I'm gonna help White Raven out. So this, if I remember right, White Raven was moving away and this creature stabbed her in the back.
Right.
Okay. So I've got like that little hose thing out again, and you see me like kind of doing this with my mouth, and there's like a string now coming from my thorax to it. I'm gonna try and shoot and like harpoon, and then like pull this thing away and draw it over to me. So
all right. Are you moving out of the fire at this point?
I mean, no. I'm so focused on helping White Raven. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Make that roll. It's a hack and slash roll, or is it a specific like gadgeteering?
I'm trying to go for jury rig.
Nice.
Yeah.
Make that roll, or make that move.
All right, let's see how this goes. 6 and a 1, plus 2, minus 1, so I got 7. No, I got an 8, so it's mixed.
You got a total 8. So I think you continue to. I'd like you to roll a d8 again, since you are taking more fire damage at this point.
Okay.
But also roll your damage die against that attendant.
Okay, hold on. And then I hate when it doesn't look like it changed.
Yeah, that drives me crazy.
There we go. So I took 3 more damage.
Uh-huh.
And then I deal.
It looked like. What's your damage? Oh, gotcha.
I dealt 5 damage to it.
And describe again what you were aiming for with this sort of jury-rigged weapon you were putting together.
So I'm trying to get the harpoon in him, and then it's got like a thread attached to my thorax, and I'm gonna try and like pull it away so it can't hurt White Raven anymore.
So I think the fire you're standing in is sort of like burned out over the grass around you, and it's still just kind of catching the oil, and you've got a little bit on you, and that takes about 1 point of damage for you. That you see White Raven sort of get clear of the area of the fire, and this thing sort of weakly stab into White Raven's back, and then all of a sudden your harpoon just goes straight through its neck and kind of up into the head. and then flies back to you, kind of. And I think you take the other 2 points of damage from the burning, flaming head of this attendant sort of popping into you. But yeah, that attendant just sort of falls back over into the burning grass and oil. What is everybody else doing?
Real quick to make that clear, so I took 3 damage one time and 2 damage the second.
No, you took 1 point of damage from just standing in the burning grass, and 2 points from being kind of clobbered with a burning head that you
just apply
back with your harpoon.
But just apply my armor once to that.
Yeah, to the total amount, just apply your armor.
I have oil on me. Am I still somewhat on fire?
I don't think so, because it's hard for it to really sort of catch on the fire. Also needs heat in addition to fuel, and I don't think it can burn really into your armor. It might damage your armor, but you've already moved out of the area, and I did not think of damaging your armor until just now. So,
I mean, we could say that my so the ice that I encased myself, it can sort of melt away. So that could be something that happened.
Yeah, roll a d4. So yeah, I think you're down to 1 armor, as the ice is starting to weaken. But that also means you move a little faster. Are you still intending to?
Yeah. So this thing, the main thing is standing up now, and
yeah.
Nurk is slashing at it.
It just struck Nurk with its own arm. Nurk cut through its arm, dismembering it, and then it grabbed the arm and struck Nurk with it.
Okay, I think I'm just gonna go at it with my axe right now.
Roll hack and slash.
I only roll 1 die.
That I don't know. You want me to clear out and start over?
Oh wait, no. There's 2 die. So
okay.
So there's 7. Okay, total 8.
Total 8. So roll your damage first, and then roll a d8 of damage.
Okay. So my damage was a 2. Its damage was a 4.
So it struck. I think it just in one fell strike. It had already just struck Nurk, and you struck it almost immediately thereafter, and it kind of circled around and hit you with its own arm as well, as if a hard stone club. Again, just feeling like you just got hit by a brick, and definitely your armor will absorb that. It's just a physical blow. Nurk, what's going on there?
Yeah, I think, Nurk looks at White Raven with a smile, and I think is going to go for the other arm.
Nurk, roll the roll hack and slash. I'm sorry.
7. Another mix.
First, your damage, and then a d8 to the damage you take.
Well, I rolled the 1 for my damage, and then for 5 for the other guy's damage.
You've definitely hacked into it, but he picks up a stone foot and just sort of knocks you back down the stairs, and you take the 5 damage, and you're back at the foot of the stairs again. Scissors, what's going on down there?
All right, so make sure I've got it right. So I just killed 1 attendant. 2 attendants are in like a firestorm of sorts.
Yeah.
And then they're struggling with this avatar or whatever of some god. I will rush into their side, and I will say thanks for holding him down, and I'm gonna start beating at him with my big punching claws or my punching fists.
Punch. Why don't you hack and slash?
Okay, and I'm gonna use my intelligence. I'll spend a charge for that roll.
Awesome.
Yeah, boxcars.
Wait. Actual boxcars?
Yep.
Nice. Roll your damage, and do you want to put yourself in harm's way to possibly finish this thing off?
You know, how close is it to the edge? Can I knock it off the edge of this kind of stone platform we're on?
You can knock it across. I don't know if you can get it off, but you can push it back sort of over its backless seat.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take damage then. I'll go in.
So roll your damage plus a d6.
Ooh, good thing I did. That's a 6 total.
You send it sprawling backwards. But before it falls backwards over the chair, it whispers something to you. And I think Scissors how do you know that when you return to the swarm, things will not go well?
I'm so sad.
Or things will not go as you initially hoped.
Yeah. I think he whispers in a language I don't understand, but I have these flashes of visions of the swarm, which is what we call the queen, and she's like bulbous and huge and like this writhing mass of undulating disgustingness, and you see her face, and it just like turns away from me, and then like I see myself approaching from another way, and the face turns away from me, and every way I come at it, that the queen will not look at me.
I think you may also, as you contemplate returning, you feel the loss of the royal jelly sentience and dissolving back into the hive. And you realize maybe that's not a good thing, possibly. But yeah, I think you have that vision. You're not sure whether it's true or not, but that vision definitely hurts. I'd like you to roll a d8 as it sort of creeps into your consciousness, that there may be a chance of failure in what you're doing.
That's
How much was it?
7.
7, yeah. It hurts. Whatever he whispered in like the back of your neck and the back of your brain. And even as you see this weird, not even animal form break on the marble platform and go scattering in all directions with its head sort of rolling loosely off the back, just completely disaffected. I think the creepiness and the anxiety that he's given you still sort of leaves you shaken. The attendants sink into the fire. And in the torso of the creature, you find kind of what looks like an intricately crafted gold star. And there's a crystal sort of, or a little crystal chamber or a little glass chamber sort of shaped like a crystal in the middle. And in the midst of that crystal is just kind of a gunk. It's just sort of gray and kind of sticky, dry. It looks a little bit like blood, and there seems to be some hair with it. And that just seems to be like what's in the middle of this sort of glass chamber, which was sitting in this sort of golden star in the middle of this thing's torso.
Can I attempt to spell some lore on this thing?
Yeah. Roll intelligence.
Four.
I think White Raven, you know what this is, and you don't know why you haven't noticed its presence. It's sort of like indentation it leaves on the makeshift torso. What before you don't know why you've never noticed this about this person before. And you know exactly what it is. What otherwise kindly, likable person who's supported you in Goat Bridge has a similar sort of indentation in their chest, or a similar sort of pattern under their clothes that you see here?
How about the innkeeper?
Nice. The last week you guys kind of interacted with the guy who manages the inn at night, but who is the inn, or during the day? What is the innkeeper's name?
Has anything been established about this innkeeper?
I don't think so. Spencer, I may be wrong. We have never named the innkeeper. We have named so many
all
people.
we know about the innkeeper is that sometimes he bakes pies.
Yeah.
He eats snakes, and he thinks Davi cheated him out of some money.
Right.
Because we argued about that last session.
Let's say his name is Brath, Brath.
And all of a sudden, you saw this on Brath, and all of a sudden it makes perfect sense. This is the chamber for the matter, bodily fluids, parts of the body of a necromancer when they create a homunculus. And turn otherwise unliving matter into another extension of themselves. Or a dead body. And they keep it in sort of this kind of star-shaped reliquary, or they keep it in a reliquary. Clearly, this necromancer has an affection for the star. And that is what you have.
All right. Yeah, I'll share that with the group and just say.
Do you tell them about breath?
Yeah, that this the shape of this star is something I've seen before on the innkeeper. On a hot summer day, I saw him take his shirt off momentarily, and I could see this. I thought it was a strange scar or tattoo or something that maybe just, I don't know. I took it to be something I didn't understand about these people, but now I recognize it for what it is.
It seems to be just embedded under his skin. Is there anything else you would like to do before we cut away from tonight?
Well, when you tell Davi that, Davi's like, I'm going to cut that damn thing out of his chest.
I think even before White Raven said anything, Nurk saw like the look in her eye and was just, we're not done yet, are we?
Scissors.
I think this also means that this is not the necromancer. This is simply his construct.
Yeah.
Scissors. Any final words, thoughts, actions from you?
I wouldn't mind if we have a little montage of us leaving this island and like burning that pit with all the body parts and stuff in it. Want to weaken the necromancer as much as we can. If we can take away a place of his power, let's do it.
So just kind of pulling out that glass piece and smashing it. I mean, you've already got the island on fire.
Oh, yeah. I guess then, no. Yeah, if the fire's...
How are you getting off the island? Just briefly.
I'm going to build a spittle and reed raft for us.
Nice. You lose 4 more rations getting back to town. Who smashes, as Scissor suggested, the glass?
I super don't have 4 rations left.
Yeah,
I have 5, and
Yeah,
used 4 already. So
I only
we'll
got
count
one
those we'll count those as pre-spent.
okay, should we take off like however much rations cost from our coin?
Yeah.
How much do rations cost?
So I got 1 ration and I have 0 coin. So
Same.
I have 22, so I can pay for probably somebody. Let me check how much rations cost.
And you do have those coins, and you find more of those coins here.
Rations are only 3 coin, so I can pay for anybody who doesn't have money.
Gotcha.
That's all of us.
Okay, then I'm rations all around, spending 12 coin.
You do find more of those coin
$1
here, kind of in small, not chests, but like chests, jewelry box size chest, that have more of those sort of enameled coins.
Should we each add one of those to our thing, or How do you want to do that?
I feel like each of you can easily walk away with 30 of those enameled coins. I'll need you to kind of look into what they are a little bit more.
How many would I have gotten before from the purse?
15.
Okay.
Cool.
They seem to be of electrum or some sort of odd metal, but you're guessing the value would be in that enameling.
Really, I think I should get all of them because I bought everybody's food, but it's fine.
You hadn't bought so many insects.
Who does smash that sort of glass piece, or do you keep it intact?
If nobody's volunteering, I'll do it.
Awesome.
Gladly.
Just taking the hilt of your sword and...
No, I think I'm stomping it.
Awesome. Okay.
With Nurk doesn't wear shoes. I would like to make that very clear. He has stomping it with his bare little lizard feet. Probably takes him a few tries.
Davi, the festival is going to be over by the time you get back to town. How do you mark the late summer festival on your road back?
You mean, how do we celebrate on the way back to town?
Yeah. You're exhausted. You're wounded. I'll assume that, between money and stuff you can forage on the way back, that you're going to come up with enough food to get back, but you'd probably be hungry. How do you celebrate on the way back?
Well, for Davi, I think, I just think right now he's just happy, because like he doesn't like the innkeeper, and now that he knows that like the innkeeper, might be another, avatar of this necromancer, he's like happy with the fact that, he might be able to cut something out of this innkeeper. Like he's got a reason to be able to kill the innkeeper now.
Nice. Scissors, does that vision shake you, that curse shake you, or do you maintain your faith in your queen?
I think creeping into the back of his mind is the idea that he needs to find a way to fit in to this society, just in case. But I'm not giving up on the dream of mating and the whole efficiency and swarm mentality.
Nice. White Raven, what do you do on the way back to mark the late summer that reminds you personally of your connection to your tribe in the north?
I think maybe when we're around the campfire, I tell some stories that are some oral history that was passed down in the north. I share them with the group, and it's something that we would do during this time.
Nice. And Nurk,
I actually would like to continue right from there. And I think he says, it's funny. My people, this isn't a time to celebrate. This is a time we mourn for when we used to be great. But this is all right.
Thank you, guys. I think I'm going to end that there, and let's do end of session. I know it's getting late, especially for Patrick. I think I'm going to start end of session with this question. Did anybody hit one of your flags? And I'll start with Pat.
No, I can't say that anybody hit
Okay.
any of those flags.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Nurk.
There are a lot of things I could probably say here, but we only get one, right?
You can just name, if you can name each person who hit a flag, but they don't stack with each other. But
Okay. Well, definitely White Raven asked me to do something daring and acrobatic.
Okay.
By sort of taunting me into going back and killing the octopus thing. I forget how XP works for these things.
You just take one.
Okay.
Or the White Raven takes one for hitting one of your flags.
Okay.
Skizix.
Davi definitely did something dangerous at my insistence, lighting Buddy on fire.
So Davi takes the XP.
Yep.
And then White Raven.
I think. There's a couple of them, I guess, could work. I'm gonna say Nurk pointed out a belief so that I could mock it with the sun.
Okay. So Nurk takes an XP. If you fulfilled your alignment or drive at least once this session, mark XP.
We didn't. So mine is show off in front of NPCs who can go on to tell your tale, but I was only able to show off in front of PCs. But they could tell
enemies you
my tale.
killed.
Well, but they can't go on to tell my tale.
That's true. That's true.
But these guys could.
Right.
So I don't know.
I will leave that entirely to you.
I'm planning to tell your tale in the north.
I mean, I feel like the spirit of it was met, if not the literal letter. And plus, that means I can finally level up. I only had one failed roll the whole time.
So to clarify, is flags only one? Like even if multiple of our flags were hit, we only give away one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you to any given person.
So we could give it to other people. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, Nurk called out my faux pas.
Okay.
And calling
Take another XP.
Calling him master.
So I'll do the questions real quick. Do we learn something new and important about the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned there's.
Yeah, we thought that was necromancer, and it's not.
Yeah, we learned the necromancer has avatars.
The innkeeper is not a good guy.
Did you overcome a notable enemy? I think you did that twice.
That snake I killed.
Yeah, that was notable to Davy. Take an XP for that.
I think you did that twice.
Do we mark 2 XP?
Yeah,
Okay.
You just mark 1.
Yeah.
Did you loot a memorable treasure?
Well, we got the
Unless you count enamel coins.
enamel coins and then the dagger. I guess I was going to ask, on the way back if we.
You do also have the reliquary that the.
Yeah, that's true.
that the homunculus is animating forces in.
But upon spending several nights with that engraved dagger, did we learn anything about it?
Didn't we smash the reliquary?
I think we
You
smashed
smashed
the
the
little.
glass, but you didn't smash sort of the golden star inside. It was inside. That would be harder to smash.
Ah.
And just because you smashed it does not mean you did not initially loot it. And you had a question about the dagger.
Yeah, I meant to ask that before we ended the session. I guess I was just curious if we learned.
Let's try to do that as like a spout lore during session, or a discern realities, kind of as you're investigating. But you definitely have that, and it's definitely old, and the attendants definitely had ones like it. I mean, they're all burned.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right. So all 3 XP questions. So each person got 3 XP. And I'm going to end the broadcast.